Hey everyone, how goes it? This is Eric Nye, and I was playing No Man's Sky with my buddy Aaron on PC, and we came across this item duplication exploit. I promise you, it's not the refiner glitch. I'm not sure how well known it is, but it's not the refiner glitch. Just want to get that out of the way right now. A few things first, though. This can cause some weird things in the game to happen that you can easily work around, and I'll get into how to do that later after the explanation of how to do it. But it does require you to be playing with another player, but it definitely helps to have some blueprints for some higher quality items. The first time I did it, we did it with fusion igniters, and it took us about 3 hours total, like gathering the items, crafting everything, and everything resulting in a fusion in like one fusion igniter. But the actual exploit itself took maybe around an hour, and we both ended up with about 2.5 billion units. The second time I did this was on PS4 with my wife. We did it with larva cores. We had just started our game, so we had smaller inventories, lesser quality items. So yeah. So I want to stress this point: like, don't just listen to the explanation and then quit out of here and go and try it out. There are some weird things that can happen, and I want to make sure your games don't mess up. It's not going to ruin your save or anything like that. I don't think. I haven't come across that problem. But yeah, just stay tuned after the explanation, and I'll show you how to get around some of the weird bugs that this creates. This whole process can be a little complicated, so just bear with me, but let's just jump right into it. First things first, you obviously need at least just one of the item that you want to duplicate, at the very least. Once you have that acquired, create a save point or a beacon and make a manual save on it. Make sure when you save that you have that item in your inventory. And then jump into your ship and then jump back out so that you also have an autosave where you have that item in your inventory. You're then going to want to give the other player the item that you want to duplicate, and then quit to mode select. Once you're at the main menu, go ahead and join in on your friend's game. Once you load into the other player's game, the other player is going to start the same process you just finished. So they're going to save, they're going to give you the item, quit, join in on your game, etc. So this is the basic idea, but there are a lot of nuances that come into this. The game starts to do this thing where it starts auto-saving as soon as you give another player an item. So if you notice that happening, you have to start adding another step to this. That extra step is this. Once you've given the other player an item and you've quit back to mode select, jump back in the game as though you were playing solo. It's going to load you into an autosave where you don't have that item in your inventory, but hopefully you created a manual save where you do have that item. So what you'll do is open up the pause menu and open up your manual save. And once you've loaded into that, you'll jump into your ship and then jump back out of your ship to create a save where you do have that item in your inventory. From there, you'll just go back to mode select and join in on the other player's game again. If you're not sure, the reason you do this is because when the game loads you in, it loads you in by default from an autosave. So you want to make sure that you have an autosave where you have that item in your inventory. Now, if you don't have blueprints for more expensive items, like you'll notice my wife and I do this with larva cores because we had just started new characters on PS4. There's another problem you'll run into. You'll want to take turns selling, but still be able to keep doing the exploit. So what you'll do is have one player sell and the other player save. Once the transaction is finished, start the process over again. The player who didn't sell will save, give their items over to the player who just sold, etc. This creates another issue where if you sell enough of the same item in the same solar system, that economy won't want that item as much anymore, and the worth of that item will go down really quickly and really dramatically. This is per player, so don't worry about who has to sell first. But to get around this, as you've probably imagined, it requires you to jump from system to system so that you can avoid that price drop. It's a little tedious, but definitely worth it in the end. Another thing we came across on both PC and PS4 after doing this process a couple of times was players started having a hard time seeing each other. Even if we made sure we were near each other, it was still saying one of the players was too out of reach to give items to. So to get around this, have the player who's receiving items get into either a ship or an exocraft, some kind of vehicle, and have the player giving items to get real snugly with that vehicle. You don't have to be like hugging it, just close enough. That's when we stopped getting player out of reach messages. And that like pretty much covers it. I really hope that this works out for you folks. I think this is not a well-known exploit. I could be totally wrong, but I imagine Hello Games is going to find some way to patch over this at some point in the near future. Until then, go ham with this thing. Obviously, feel free to like and subscribe. Also, definitely check out my Patreon page because I would love to do this as a full-time job. All right. So, thank you, folks. Hope this helps. See you later.